You're insult, Richard. You're severely insult. Michael's insult. Okay. Right. Just get an opening question. I just want to get a bit of level, really.
Huh?
Hearing
I'm running.
Speak.
Well, just for me, level for me, yeah?
Yeah.
That's my voice.
You're lovely, yeah. Get one from the guys. Just a quick round.
Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Yahoo.
Yeah.
Ta ti ti ta.
Richard, when you are on death, you are coming in on a shadow. And what over there? Yes, can you see that? Yes, I am. Nice. It's just in the corner of the frame. That's out. That's in. Yep.
Right?
We are running.
Right then. First thing, I heard that you were surprised when you heard that Rapido wanted to speak to you. Is that true?
Surprised?
Yeah.
Excited, because it's one of our favorite television shows whenever we come into the UK.
That's good to hear.
It's part of the jet lag ordeal.
Yeah.
So
It
we're
always
on
seems to
plane.
be on the night that we get into town.
And you can't sleep, and it's pretty much the only thing worth watching.
So we're like watching international snooker.
It's better than
something.
snooker.
And then Rapido comes on, and we jump up and down. Yeah, Rapido, Rapido.
Is there anything like that that could compare in America that talks about music? That would
Ed
be-
Sullivan Show, American Bandstand, MTV.
There's nothing that has the variety of Rapido and the quality.
Right. So things. First reason why I wanted to film you in a hotel room is that because that's your home for most of the year, or a lot of the time. This is your home, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's the reason why I wanted to be. Yeah.
Well then, I think I'll just hold the pill and go to sleep.
Yeah, good night.
Night.
Now the thing's going. Yeah, things going real quick, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the record's only been out for, what, 2 months or something?
Something like that, yeah.
I don't know, it's just a blur.
I think it's been about 3 months now.
Has it really?
September 24th.
That's right.
October, November.
2 months.
Just 2 months.
Well,
Your perception of time and reality is obviously distorted.
It is. I mean, an album to go of, not a first album, an album to go, in the Billboard chart, in the top chart, and number 4. That's really quick. That's as quick as you can get, isn't it?
I've never paid attention to charts before,
Yeah.
you know? I mean, the numbers, just a bunch of statistics, really.
I want to have my chart done, astrological chart, so we can, like our next release or like my personal life, I'll go, like my chart says, I'm in Taurus and, Saturn is in Sagittarius. And and blue diamonds and green clover,
Orange stars.
orange stars,
And a blue diamond.
and blue diamonds.
And I'm sure if you don't look at the numbers, somebody else is looking for you at the numbers. And I'm sure, here Rapido talks to you, a lot of people talking to you, want to talk to you. When you gotta go back in America, he's gonna do the same, Like a number 4 album is a very big album. And then people are gonna want to have your opinion about everything. It's already happening.
Yeah, we have our opinions. We're a bunch of opinionated jerks. Let me tell you something.
Jerky.
Jerky. That's
It's not
right.
difficult to have an opinion about everything when you ask.
It's difficult to have opinion about everything because I don't know anything about anything. Well, I mean, you give your opinion to somebody, and it's just your opinion. I mean, it's not gospel or anything. All opinions are open to dialogue and forum.
So you call that pressure already? What being shooting up at the top?
Pressure?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so.
We don't really pay enough attention.
I mean, it's not like any, we don't feel responsible to go out and try twice as hard,
Yeah.
I mean, it happened. We've been doing what we're doing. And if it goes up to number -12 on the chart, then
Past number
whatever,
one.
past number 1 to -12. That's no big deal, really.
Okay, you're bored about this conversation about exposure and pressure and.
No, I'm sick. I'm sick.
Well, you call the English flu, I think.
Touch me, I'm thick.
You can fry a head egg on that forehead.
Try hit on that egg.
Is right.
You ain't got a forehead, you got an 8 head.
Magic 8-ball head. We'll just turn it up and down and boom. That's how we plan our destiny, was with that magic 8-ball. You turn it around. It says, try again.
Comes out and says, yes.
Yes.
No.
And
Go
do you think-
die.
Do you think when you're gonna go back to the States, when you gonna go back to America?
About 2 weeks.
December 15th.
Uh-huh.
And then we go on tour for another 5 days. Then we have a month off. Then we go to Australia, New Zealand, Hawaii, Japan,
Hawaii.
Hawaii.
Southeast Asia. And then we're home for a little while.
It's crazy because like in France, nobody was, for example, where the problem comes from, where I come from. Nobody was really talking about you before, and then suddenly it's like album of the year, like get them on TV. It's like all the magazines want a piece of the action. That's why I'm saying I asked the first question. It goes really quick.
It's very bandwagon-esque. If I may plug another band that I totally love.
When you played European countries, I don't know if you talk to people, but if you watch the reactions or whatever, what has been the main difference between your American crowd and the European crowd?
Probably the diets that the people.
I don't know. I've sort of found that the language is sort of different.
I mean, it's all this. People have the same reactions. You know what I mean? I guess we all came from a common ancestor, like
Adam and Eve.
Adam and Eve, right? Creationist, Adam and Eve, evolutionist, humanoid type creatures came out of Africa and populated the earth and adapted to their climates. But I think there's a million similarities and there are dissimilarities. And I think people's reaction to music is a very big similarity, whether it be on the continent, be it the UK or be in US. In the West, you know, if you go to the East or if you go to like Cambodia or something, they wouldn't know what to think of you because they really haven't been exposed. But in the West, rock and roll has been a major cultural thing for the last 30 years. So it's pretty much the same reaction.
It's also because your music seems to be based on instinct, and then people can share that.
Yeah,
Sure.
It wouldn't matter if we were speaking in tongues.
Yeah, right
It's a
on.
universal language.
It's a universal language. And those are like worn out cliches, you know. Rock and roll is a universal language, brother, you know. But to some extent that's true. I mean, it's people just you get a lot of people in the same room, you get good groove happening and people really react. It's a great thing.
I mean, something else. I don't know. Again, you tell me in America, but in England or in France, it's like quite recently that it's kind of cool to like rock again. A lot of people kind of walked out of rock for a long time.
Oh boy. And they wore black clothes and you know, it just if that's the case, I mean, music isn't a fashion accessory. There's a lot of people it is, I know, but to us it isn't, you know. I'm into industrial dance now, you know. So what they do, they go to the pawn shop and sell all their CDs. It's not records, but CDs. Because records are out.
Maybe it's also because guys like you, maybe like give quite a good name to rock.
If rock and roll deserves a good name, it does. It does.
And I think
You know, Bon Jovi gives love a bad name.
God gave rock and roll to you.
God gave rock and roll to you. You've got a gift. It's called rock and roll. Rock and roll's paid for a lot of facelifts and hair transplants.
There's one thing that I've learned about rock and roll by being in this business for 5 or 6 years. It'd be to use your illusion.
1 and 2. It depends what illusion it is. Life is full of illusion. And here's my lovely
magic.
wife. It's magic. And I mean, rock and roll is good. I have to admit it. It's got me through some rough times.
The only thing rock and roll's ever given me is a hearing impairment.
Did you hear the story that your wife, Shelley, said today about her
About the
cousin?
girl?
That little
Oh.
girl, the girl, she's the total
Check this
typical
out.
girl.
wasn't
Typical
like,
girl.
It's great. This 13-year-old cousin of Shelley's had for the past couple of years has had her walls covered in New Kids on the Block posters. And she heard our album, and she had dolls and everything, and she heard our album, Nevermind, and she tore all her posters down
Yeah.
and burnt her dolls.
Yeah.
Really?
You should
Set
know
them on
Stacy.
fire.
Stacy's like a little brat, like, you know. Now it's like I hate New Kids on the Block. And she's a terror.
man.
She's a terror.
She's smoking cigarettes. She's got a tattoo.
Yeah.
That's right. She just takes the car now. You know, she's not even old enough to drive. She's just a
Cranking our music as loud as she can. Driving up and down, drunk, hurting people.
This cop pulled her over. She just went, smacked, knocked him out.
13.
There's only 13. That's right.
It's never mind the attitude of a lot of people in the US to start with.
Sure.
I'm talking about the word here, you know, like
Yeah, it is. It is. It's too bad. It's too bad that's way. But see, people, they have to.
Use their
They
illusion.
make priorities, you know. And a lot of times, a priority is a car in your driveway, or whatever material objects you have, and it's all a bunch of junk or
Trinkets and baubles.
trinkets. Yeah, look at this shiny stone. Why is this any more?
That's a Ming Voss to me.
I know.
I need
This could be. I mean, Elizabeth Taylor should wear that on her finger. What's the difference? Can I have a drink?
Yeah.
Without making any like sweeping statement or generalization, the people of you're seeing them changing. Because I don't know the youth of America. I don't know
Kids
if
are a
that
lot
thing in their head.
smarter.
That's a good
now.
record.
Kids are a lot smarter, I'm totally convinced. The average
A lot
18-year-old
smarter?
is a lot smarter than they were when I was an 18-year-old.
You think so?
I'm convinced.
In
I
what way?
sort of wonder.
What kind of smartness?
They're just more aware. They're more jaded and cynical. They're more aware of injustice. They've learned from their parents' mistakes.
American youth have had it all on a silver platter. They've been eating ice cream out of a bowl this big.
But now
And then what is
filled
it?
with
But now
crack.
there's no such thing as Farrell's ice
Yeah,
cream
Farrell is
parlors.
gone.
Because now
No
Farrell's
more
is a crack
Shakey's.
house.
Dippy waiters and waitresses singing you happy birthday off key.
You ever had one of those zoos? A zoo?
Oh yeah.
Did you ever have a zoo?
Mm-mm.
It was like 32 different kinds of ice cream, or 16 or something like that.
Oh, I thought of another idea for the video. Sea monkeys floating around in the video. Wouldn't that be neat?
That's
Brine
a funny one
shrimp.
because, when you talk about cynicism, I mean, this side of the water, being a cynic is not really a good thing. I mean, like, it's the opposite.
No, it's not, but it's a fine defense mechanism, and that doesn't necessarily mean that people are avoiding necessary topics and things that really matter. It just means that they're aware of things.
How many times do the people have to learn the same lesson?
Well, not everything should be common sense anyway.
Right. Instead of reactionaryism, nationalism. So that stuff's like easy.
There's one band I want to talk about. Do you think a band like R.E.M. opened up the doors, the commercial doors, for a band like you to come in and have a commercial success?
A little bit. I think every band that's kind of
It just goes down the line.
cracked it a little bit, cracked the door open.
Whether it's-
Sonic Youth,
Yeah, Sonic Youth.
Jane's Addiction, they did it.
I've always thought of REM as a commercial band in the first place. They just happen to be a good, passionate commercial band. And there have always been good, passionate bands in rock and roll throughout the history. It's up to fans and people involved in the music industry to make sure that it doesn't get as stale and as bad as it has within the last 10 years. Especially in the Reagan era.
Yeah,
Did I roll that too tight?
sorry.
Looks like you.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
from the, don't know if the word is right, but from the traditional band, the affiliation of band that you coming up, you talk about, the youth, the Escadus, people like that. You're the first one to put the door open.
Yeah. It seems like the mainstream is very consistent in like blandness, being bland, like bland, boring TV shows, bland, boring bands, bland, boring blockbuster movies. It's all very consistent.
When it comes to like mainstream and commercialism, it's sort of like no one's willing to take a chance because it's a risk of money. That's why you've had the same bunch of crap on
Right.
MTV for the past 6 years or whatever.
That's right.
I mean, it just comes down to money, and people aren't willing. It's not a feasible business move.
It's a vicious circle. Is actually these people who are trying to make money is they play it really safe and they take like a demographic survey. So they survey all these the papal hierarchy in the Vatican. I mean, they survey all these people and say like, what do you like? What do you want to see? And they've been fed garbage. So that's all they know. And they say, we want more garbage. So they give them the garbage. They survey them again. And it's all this garbage. The next thing you know, you have this overflowing full landfill full of diapers and styrofoam. And that's mainstream culture is a soiled pamper diaper in a Big Mac container.
You were talking about Hollywood, for example. You know, like, because it costs so much money to make a movie, and it's a risk, like, you're talking like commercial risk. What they do now, and they've been doing for quite a few years, is they buy successful French movies of the 50s and the 40s. They were blockbusters because they were well written.
Do they colorize them?
And then no, they reshoot them. Now you
Oh,
figure
they
out the baby
reshoot
and the
them.
back,
Oh,
you know,
right.
but that's just the
Oh.
beginning. They're going out there and buying, like,
Oh yeah, that's exactly why there's so many new popular bands doing covers of songs even 5 years ago. You know, like this one band that we played with on Top of the Pops last night. We're doing a cover of a Christopher Cross song. Yikes!
Yikey.
You know.
Crikey. Yeah.
What a chump.
Yikes, what a trope. Yeah. It's I mean, how many times do you have to see the same I Love Lucy plot on a sitcom? You know what I mean? But there's good stuff out there. I mean, The Simpsons. I mean, that's like a great TV show.
And
It's
it's a
very-
commercial success.
Yeah, it is. There's a lot of substance there. It's really good.
and that's because I suppose, you know, the lines are, the walls are pretty thick out there, maybe thicker than here between, you know, between people. Is there already been people saying sell out to you because you're commercial?
It hasn't really happened, to tell you the truth. You know, because we're not really playing along. I mean, we're not at Studio 54 with Bianca Jagger or cruising down Hollywood Boulevard with Slash and Mickey Rourke. You know, I mean, it's just not our scene, really.
Well, you know, in all the things I read about the band before I met you, it's like there's a word that comes out called Tony's pop, and I think it's super. It's saying, before in the Red Run during the Bleach time, I was scared of making pop music.
Ooh, did I say that?
Well, it was meant to end.
That was printed. I see.
Sounds like a misquote. to me.
No, I've always loved pop music. It just so happens that most of the songs that we wrote at the time the Bleach album was coming out were more abrasive songs. There were quite a few songs that were very pop, like the song like About a Girl, that were just left off the album. In fact, a few very pop songs on this album were written at the time, if not before, the Bleach album came out. And I think that releasing the Sliver single was a good example of what Nevermind would have.
So let's talk about pop, because it's, you know, if you look, each person's got a definition. I suppose England's got a complete different way of talking about pop. As what you have, what I am. So what's pop?
Pop is like Rubber Soul, Beatles. Just kind of a song with a hook, very simple.
Yeah, I think with repetition, it doesn't have to be clean and jangly.
Yeah.
There are a few Melvin songs that are pop in my eyes.
And I think pop could be like children's songs, you know,
Yeah.
songs that you're taught in nursery school or whatever.
Yeah, it's not pop as in popular. That's not the case.
But pop is, you know, also something like in England, it's certainly the case. It's something that you kind of love to hate. Sometimes, you know, there's pop songs that you really hate, but, you know, they're just up there and you walk around with them, and, you know, I think that's what pop is in England.
Like a TV commercial.
Something that sticks
jingle.
in your head.
Yeah. Didn't Richard Carpenter do that with the Carpenters? He saw a bank commercial. Because I saw the Karen Carpenter story. And he was watching TV, popping Quaaludes that his mom turned him on to. Here, Richard,
That's pop.
they're Quaaludes. They'll calm you down. So he's popping Quaaludes, sweating. And he saw this TV commercial for a bank. And the theme goes, "We've only just begun." And he goes, "That's a hit." So he got on the horn to Herb Alpert and buy the copyright to that song. And then they had a million-seller hit. I wonder if he's still popping ludes.
There's another word with P, that's punk, yeah? That's another word I've seen a lot in the English, British interviews I read of you.
Ugh, whatever you've read. Whatever. There you go.
I thought, yeah, let's talk about that first before. then further. Talking about whatever you read, like there was an article in the Melody Maker. There was a front page article that presented you like with rock and roll monsters.
Mm-hmm.
Sensationalism is all it is. Being sensational. You can
Just
read
another paragraph.
You can just read. You can read the Sun, or you can read the Sunday Sport. Just a bunch of sensational articles. Everybody likes to have a good time. Sometimes things get out of hand, but to have a whole image behind a band, it made a good article, I suppose.
It was funny. He was a good laugh.
Ho 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 ho.
So yeah, let's go back to punk then. It's the article, I think, people who really read it, the other ones haven't, and it's forgotten. Yeah, punk. What do you use the word? That is a word that could, is from a certain area of time and music, and you seem to put it. You say it describes our music well.
I think punk is just as vital now as it ever was. As far as like inspiring people, we can still look back on punk rock that came out in the early 80s and late 70s and still be just as inspired and into it as it might have affected you when it was released, when it was out.
And punk was like very simple, and there was a lot of energy on the first real punk. There was a lot of melody too, and it was a reaction to like stuffiness and like progressive jazz in rock and roll, old farts playing 20-minute songs, when what rock and roll was like a 3-minute song, and it just really got you going. Go man, go. I'm looking for kicks. Emotional instead of like really cerebral,
Punk rock made me realize that you don't have to be professional. You just have to have passion.
It inspired
Can
a lot
be
of people to.
as sloppy as you want. That's what made me start playing guitar. I was intimidated when I first started playing guitar by really professional musicians, like heavy metal musicians who are very anal and technical, and promoted the fact that they can play good, and that made me not ever think of playing rock and roll realistically, or ever making a career out of it, or actually going for it and doing it. But when I heard punk rock, it made me realize that these people are a lot like me. They're just as sloppy and as bad musicians, but they still like passion and they like energy, and so it helped me start a band. And hopefully it'll do the same for other kids and people.
Professionalism is a really big thing in America, isn't it? More than here, I think. You have to be. That's something that always strikes me. A lot of American artists, the emphasis is on, being very good at it and working your ass off at it. It's a very, a very American thing, I think.
Well, it's probably true
I don't like to
everywhere.
put too much of that is American.
Yeah.
No, but I understand that. I mean,
Work.
in America, there's colleges devoted to, like, the Guitar Institute of Technology and the Percussion Institute of Technology, and they go and they
Accordion is
teach you how to like make those moves on stage and how to look and what to wear, and teach you to make it.
They have commercials. Get a career in the music industry. Managerial, sound engineering, and they show these like total goofballs twirling these knobs and stuff. It's so romantic.
But in the same time, you do get involved a lot in controlling whatever comes out of.
We have to. You have to do it because
We don't trust anyone else.
it's up to us three, and you let somebody else go, get a hold of it, and who knows how it's going to turn out. It's not going to be Nirvana. You got to be stubborn, too. Mm-hmm. No. It's a hard lesson learned, but it's the way it's got to be. Get it?
Yeah, definitely. But like on the video, like somebody was telling me, is it Alex telling me that you, I don't know if it's you or you, Frank, control it, like the Teen Sphere.
Oh yeah, we thought of the whole idea.
Mm-hmm.
We did hire a director, and at times we were at the mercy of the director, but hopefully we explained it to him well enough so he could get a good idea of what we wanted. There were a lot of time constrictions for the video to be released, so we only had a couple of days to edit it, and we mainly just let the production company edit it, and then we looked at the rough edits and decided to take a few things out. But they had a really good idea of what we wanted. We had a few discussions over it.
Yeah.
So it turned out all right.
It's a Nirvana video. I mean, if Nirvana had nothing to do with it, you know. I could see some manufactured band, you know, they're take your places, guys.
No, I mean it definitely works because I received the idea of it's like, you know, I process 20 videos a day. You know, like I receive them every day, obviously.
Yeah.
Pretty more without even looking at the label, looking at the name of the band. And, you know, I kind of watched it and then I stopped and I went to play it again and it's just, the spirit is there. And even if you had the sound, of course, you would have to look at it again because it just looks completely different.
I know the fans had a lot to do with it. People showed up there and they weren't over enthusiastic. They were just very, very enthusiastic. It was like
12 hours of sitting around listening to the same song.
That's you're living in Seattle, yeah?
around Seattle, yeah.
Which is where about exactly?
Just south of Seattle. Dave lives in Seattle.
I live in West.
We live in
Dave
Seattle.
just moved to Seattle. I don't have a home right now, but I think I'm going to move back to Olympia. I've lived in Olympia, which is the capital of Washington, for the past 5 years.
You from Aberdeen?
Originally, but we've left Aberdeen about 4 years ago. We had to get out of there. It was just very stifling and stagnant. Couldn't handle it anymore. A lot of backwards attitudes. Just there was nowhere to go except out.
Or is that Twin Peaks country?
Twin Peaks is classy. I don't know if Aberdeen is that classy.
Aberdeen is Twin Peaks without the excitement.
Without the drama.
Yeah. There's a lot of twistedness there, but it's not very, I'll use it, romantic again, or it's not that interesting. It's kind of pathetic.
And you, at least I know about you two coming out of art school training. Or
No, that's
going through art school.
That's BS. That's just we got a bio from the record company. It was very stuffy and it was just very run of the mill. So we had a little fun with it. Started making up stories, drinking coffee, getting giddy, writing down stuff. And then we'll write this. And
So that's how the art school thing came
yeah, that's
about.
how art school thing. We thought, what is the most cliche, typical thing for a rock band? They're art school dropouts, you know.
Get it?
And it wasn't even art school, it was craft school, you know. We were into painting seashells and gluing them on burlap or grandma crafts, making little owls out of macrame, you know. Crafts, you know, that whole absurd world.
Saying that, for example, the cover is a really good cover.
Well,
Thank you.
Thanks. I think the cover has the dollar bill shows what the materialist connotations are about it. And anything after that is open for interpretation. Anti-materialist connotations, I must say.
What's your, because when I read, you know, I looked at the dictionary at Nirvana to get some definitions of the word. So it's one of those words that you know, but you're not very exactly sure what it means. And so what's your definition of Nirvana?
Well, the most common word that comes up in every definition that I've read has been freedom. So we kind of like to think of our music as musical freedom in a way. not being tied to a specific genre or a specific sound.
Amen. That's really good.